A Māori Parliament, some people might think it's a beehive with kōrus and a lot of natives in it.
Well, I don't think many of our people are lining up to join the National Party or ACT. Maybe New Zealand first. The reality is, I think it's good to have the conversation. I think Annette Sykes was on point the other week when she talked about, well, actually, we shouldn't have a look and turn to Pākehā models all the time for our Māori leadership, the way that we express ourselves and so on and so forth. I think now's a good time to have a look at the interplay between the law and LORE. I think that's a great concept.
Your thoughts around this idea of a Māori Parliament, which might seem like really odd to a whole bunch of people. They might have one-dimensional view of it.
Well, I'm not in favour of a Māori Parliament, and though I know the history for our Māori Parliament, we have a democracy, we have a way of voting. But for me, it's about ensuring that within a party like National, that we have more Māori in the party, that we can keep our people honest within the party, and that we can actually then, debate the issues. Believe me, within our party, the Māori who are in there, we're not always happy either about what our own government does at the end of the day, who is within any political system, eh?
David Seymour sort of made a bit of a joke of it, which the Prime Minister laughed at. Did you laugh at that?
No, I didn't. I think it's a place where we can, in our own Indigenous rights, have a kōrero, make some decisions. I think we've got to have a look at the structure. But the other thing is we've got to take the garden variety Māori with us, because I think for many people it's esoteric.
Yeah.
When you're struggling to pay the rent, when you're struggling to put kai on the table, it actually doesn't mean a lot. And I think that's the kōrero we have to have first up.
There have been lots of scandals. I mean, it seems like every party has had allegations around it. There's 4 investigations into allegations that Te Paati Māori have misused private data. John Tamihere has suggested double standards at play. What are the rules and how serious are these allegations, do you think, Hinurewa?
Well, if they are true, they're serious, aren't they? Because it means that, the way that a marae has used information and data to benefit their own needs to actually get votes. And if that's the case, that's a good thing that we have an inquiry. But until that inquiry comes out, I'm just going to sit and wait and see what happens. But it will have a dire effect across the whole voting system for Aotearoa.
I think a very important lesson needs to be learned, and that is you need clear divisions. Yeah. You can't have, even if it's not proven, even the look is not bad, you can't have the CEO who's also the candidate running for Te Paati Māori and running a polling booth out of their marae. So, I think we just have to have a greater level of transparencies and better divisions in the future.
Number one, I think the focus on Manurewa Marae is not fair. Manurewa Marae do amazing work. And the institutions stand the test of time. Yeah. The second thing is I think Te Paati Māori themselves had the solution when nearly 4 weeks ago they called for a Royal Commission against corruption similar to the models in Australia, which could have seen them self-refer themselves, because we've got to take the politics out of this. These are serious allegations. They require independent inquiry, and I don't mean inquiry by the Public Service Commission. And I think it's bad form for every political party in this country over many years not to address the issue of potential corruption or allegations like this in our midst.
In one word, how would you describe the state of the nation?
Fractured.
Fractured?
Fractured, yes. This government has fractured the nation within 7 months, and it's showing on the polling results. Labour, which really hasn't done anything, is ascending in terms of the polling numbers. The coalition partners, and particularly the New Zealand First, are very brittle. The other thing is that I think there's been a repudiation of this sort of these racist sort of attacks on our language and on our people, and I think already middle New Zealanders have simply had enough.
Hinurewa, do you agree with Shane?
I think we are fractured, yes, but I think this government is doing their very best to repair that. There's no question the cost of living is still the major, bugbear for many of our whānau. There's no question that with our communities, our services are stretched. But, you've got to give a new government time to be able to give effect to the changes that they're endeavouring to see outcomes for our whānau.
So, Matthew, listening to both those comments, have had 7 months. Where are you placing your thoughts?
Well, I think the New Zealand public, and Māori in particular, are patient, because this is what happens when you've got a circus in town. When you've got clowns to the left of you and jokers to the right, it doesn't matter how long it takes. You can give a government a chance, I get that, But when it's a three-ring circus, not a three-headed taniwha, I think the New Zealand people are losing their patience. And there's only so much you can blame the previous lot for. This lot seem to be blaming them for everything forever. You know, sometimes you just got to get on with it.
More kōrero from the panel after the break. Shane, New Zealand First and Te Paati Māori are polling the lowest, but they're kind of the loudest. How is each party tracking, in your opinion?
Well, Te Paati Māori will track okay because they tend to poll low in nationwide polls, but I think they'll hold the seats. This far out. That's my sort of view. I think New Zealand First has got a real problem, and it's this: their core supporter superannuitants. As a result of this government's actions, superannuitants are worse off because they didn't get an inflation-adjusted increase come 1st of April, and I think they'll be pretty upset about that. You know, this is about political choices, Moana. $2.9 million for landlords like me, a super prison at $1.9 million, superannuitants getting less money in their back pocket.
Have you dropped your rents?
No, I haven't dropped my rents, and for...
Because that was kind of one of the rationales around...
It's never going to happen because it's all about supply and demand. If there is a dearth of housing, of course, rent's going to continue to go up, and the rent trends are going up actually at record speed.
Mm-hmm. Hinurewa, who are the standout performers in the government, do you think?
I'll have to say Tama. I think he's doing okay for a first-time minister. He's got some really, really big portfolios there, and he's got a lot to do. So, you know, I think that what he's doing about getting out and across the motu, meeting people, talking to people, he's doing the very, very best, especially within the climate environment portfolio that he has. I think he's doing okay.
He's got a lot of portfolios, but he is a newbie, and the question is around how much power he actually has.
Well, I think it's also too about levels of understanding, and let's face it, Tama's got a really good brain when it comes around understanding economic development and Māori development. He's been in that space. You know, he wasn't a CEO of a iwi group for a reason. You know, he was there because he understands the commercial objectives, he understands what's needed at a business and a community level, and he understands our Māori communities and their needs.
Tama Potaka could easily say to his caucus, hey, look, there are some really deep concerns about 7AAA. Let's take it back to the people. Let's have a hui and just put the brakes on a little bit. He could choose to do that tomorrow, but I just don't think he has the internal strengths. And the other thing is, I think you're quite right. When it comes to something like the environment, I'm not sure if he is the minister. I think it looks like Shane Jones is the proxy minister because he's saying, what's he simply saying? He's saying, dig, baby, dig, as quick as we can and as deep as we can.
I disagree with my mate a little bit on this one, sorry. And I agree with you a little bit. I think Tama is the exception. We need to give him an opportunity. He's not a politician in the true sense. He didn't start in politics until later on in life, which means he's got a really great business and background. So I'd like to see a little bit more about how he goes, in fairness.
So there's been a lot of talk in Te Ao Māori about kotahitanga. Do we see kotahitanga in the government?
I think, no, we don't. I think we're going to see a very fractured government. I can't see Winston Peters allowing David Seymour to ascend to the Deputy Prime Ministership. So I don't think there'll be a snap election, but I think the old man will see survival. Winston is like Lazarus on a triple bypass. He's going to roll back that stone of the cave that holds the body of Jesus, and he's going to see the light. And the light will be getting across the threshold to get back into Parliament.
Okay, I just want to bear in mind, though, there is kotahitanga unity within the coalition. You know, just because you think there isn't, there is. You know, so they're working together. They're out there doing exactly the same things as what you're talking about, working with their communities, talking to the people, determining where the needs are so that those frontline services can get the pūtea that's required.
Is there much kotahitanga in the opposition?
Yeah, I think there is. I think that the opposition has developed a good relationship with Te Paati Māori. I think that many people on the left, working people, Pacifica, Māori, Greens, 40-odd thousand throughout Aotearoa, New Zealand, and I think it's just the beginning.
There's been some major criticism that things have been rolled back that have been well researched over the years, and they're just like, poof. How much of those strategies strategies and policies are evidence and science-based?
I can only speak about what I know from being in the National Party, but I know that much of our evidence is around facts-based and it is around needs. And there is some really robust data that's out there at the end of the day. But also, too, we know that we're with a public service, that we have got to make change in the public service, and that's exactly what they've done. To enable to make the tax cuts that we require currently and to put the pūtea back where it's required. So let's give us some time.
So that's in the National Party, which I don't debate. I think the National Party and national MPs and ministers have a strong background on evidence-based approaches. In both ACT and also New Zealand First, we're not seeing an evidence-based approach that gives the New Zealand public confidence and Māori confidence.
Where things are needed the most is first home buyers. The government's done away with that. Rents are going up because landlords are more emboldened. I got a $20 wage cut because I earn more than $100,000. The median wage in Aotearoa, New Zealand is what? $49,000. They get $2.50 a week.
Can you explain to me how the economy is going to be turned around when so many people are losing their jobs, when rents are high, when some of these subsidies are cut? You give it a shot first.
It doesn't. What happens is the deeper you cut into our civil service, the higher the unemployment rates go, the deeper the recession is. And I think we're heading to a recession. This government is starving the country of money, and it's just a false mythology. It doesn't work.
Can you explain how it works, Hinurewa?
Oh, look.
So you have lots of people unemployed, particularly in the public sector now. So people are struggling. So why would they be able to go out and buy stuff, spend money?
Look, I don't have the answers for you on, complete answers. It's like looking at levels of procurement for Māori where they currently sit. Procurement's got to increase for us. So I look at the knowledge-based activities that we're doing. I look at the fiscal responsibility, and I'm going, this government will get us there. Just give us time.
Can I just ask, around the procurement, so National might buy into that, Māori procurement, but what about the other parties, which kind of have a little bit of a thing about anything that's targeting Māori?
Look, I can't speak for ACT, but if we look at New Zealand First, I think they are into procurement. And I think if we look at the fast tracking, that's going to make a difference to how we do business in the construction manufacturing industries. That's going to be a good thing for us. That means it's going to have an impact on housing and levels of improvement there. So, we've got to get those levels up. We have to. It's important. 1,500
construction jobs gone in the last quarter, 1,500.
I'm aware, yeah.
We are part of a much more sophisticated global economy. We are kidding ourselves if we think that titooing around the edges with restructuring this and public service cuts that is going to make a dime of difference when it comes to the economic indicators. We're already in a technical recession.
Yeah.
So let's not gild the lily and talk about the fact that this government's restructures and public service cuts are going to make a difference or not. And neither will the fast track legislation, by the way, because we're talking about 3% in terms of royalty income back to the taxpayer for what, $1 billion outlay. And it's going to take years for a lot of that mining to come off. And then you've got the degradation and destruction of the conservation estate. It's going to take decades, if not longer, to recover from the mining that's occurring. We're also dealing with cowboy miners, to be frank. But we're not dealing with the BHPs and the Rio Tintos and the Extratas. We're dealing with corner cutters. So I think, the National Party narrative of we're better at managing the economy is gone.
Thank you, I think, Matthew. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Hinurewa.
You're welcome. Kia ora.